This episode of Hot Trash Unlimited brought to you by Twizzlers. Twizzlers twists for only the twistiest of movies.
Give me a moment's peace and take out the trash.
We pay taxes for people to commentate the garbage.
Hey, listen, Greenie, no more sneaking rides to the junkyard.
Yeah, man, take a taxi when you want to go to the junkyard.
Hello and welcome to Hot Trash Unlimited, the show where we go to the theater, watch things to decide whether or not they are hot trash. I'm Caleb.
I'm Joe.
Joe, what did we see this week?
We saw The Turning.
Geez, your friends must love it here.
I have no friends.
You have no friends?
Yep.
Well, you have one now.
Maybe.
May I ask how the parents died?
Well,
Miles?
Nothing should have to suffer. It's not that simple.
I don't go in that part of the house.
Why not?
Don't wanna.
Another movie in the latest installment of It's January. I mean, not anymore at the recording of this, but during the release,
It's January.
It's January.
So I have to say, I had a great time at the theater today because
It's only changed in the last 10 minutes.
It started when we walked up to the booth.
Oh.
So something I haven't been talking about because I want to get him on the podcast. We have a fan favorite, a podcast favorite, guy who works at our theater at the Beagle Cinemas here in Nashville. There's a guy. His name's Evan, right?
Yeah.
We weren't quite sure about his name because his name tag was always obscured. But Evan works
It says on the kiosk when it's you're being checked out by Evan or served or whatever.
Evan works at the box office. It's the only reason I go to the box office instead of the kiosks. And he's just, how would you describe Evan?
Disassociated.
Yeah, that's a good word. I'm pretty sure half the times we've gone up to him, he has looked like he is asleep. And
he was asleep one time.
Yeah, at least one time he was definitely asleep. Also, every other time we've gone up to the booth, I feel, and Evan wasn't there, I feel like we have had bad experiences. Evan may look like he despises his job with every ounce of his being, but he knows how to do it.
Yeah, there that one time I had the free ticket, and it just became an extended conversation of how to use my free ticket.
Remember that one time Evan wasn't there and the person carded you for Terminator?
We thought he got fired.
Or
quit. We haven't seen him in like a month.
No, Alex, our friend of the show, Alex, pointed out, because he used to work at Beagle Cinemas, no one gets fired.
Yeah.
So, although if anyone could, I bet Evan brought a couple ounces of something into the... We were afraid that he quit, maybe found a job that made him happy. But no, he's still there.
He's still there.
And then I got the best deal on the menu, my chicken nuggets or chicken strips. Only $1 more than the popcorn. This is the episode where I bring all our running jokes off the podcast onto it.
So that movie we saw.
Oh yeah, then we saw The Turning. Joe, what's The Turning about?
Mackenzie Davis is a newly anointed live-in nanny.
Governess.
Live-in nanny for...
Well, but she also teaches.
That's true. For this little girl and her brother. And there's also a housekeeper who's old and creepy, and spooky things happen an hour into the movie.
We get the that one jump scare just to remind us that this is a horror movie.
This is, in fact, a horror movie. So it's been 30 minutes. We might have forgotten at this point.
And then, it goes another 30
minutes without anything happening, yeah.
So, yeah, this is it's kind of your classic gothic haunted house movie.
Early 2000s, by the way.
Yeah, when did Kurt Cobain die?
Like 2001, I think. I'm going to be horribly wrong. Watch this.
I thought it was in the 90s. I thought it was like...
Kurt Cobain.
I thought it was 96.
94. I am wrong. Okay. This movie starts, because we have a timeline, starts April 7th, 94, because Kurt Cobain has died 2 days before.
Well, there's a cold open, so it starts a little bit before. But yes, this movie... The only reason we know it's set in the 90s is because of TV.
Kurt Cobain has just died.
Yeah, TV report announces that Kurt Cobain died.
Phones.
I would still buy that if that was a movie, I'd be like, okay, this is a timeless kind of period piece. But then like this very directly sets it in the 90s.
It didn't bother me, but it was more just, that's a weird choice to do. There's no need to do this. I would accept anything.
Well, it's just one of those things where it's like, when I think gothic horror, I do not think the 90s.
94.
There's kind of a mystery element to it, kind of a psychological. Do you think this movie wants us to question whether or not there's a supernatural element?
I don't know if it wants us to question it. I think it has a supernatural element. We'll get into that.
Well, yeah. By
the entire
end,
movie, it
does.
is leading into having a super. It might not be.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Okay. Yeah. But
the entire movie, it's leading you to believe there's a supernatural element. And then at the very end, in the last 20 minutes, they insert this plot point that it might not be supernatural. And then the last 10 minutes, they just throw everything for a loop.
But for the first ending of the movie,
yes.
Let's treat this like the fake ending is the real ending. I was kind of disappointed because I feel like it's in this weird litmus space between this is a psychological horror and maybe it's like vaguely supernatural or not, or it's just a straight supernatural horror. I'm fine with either ends, but it feels like it's kind of playing a game where it does things that are clearly supernatural, like the mannequin's head turning and stuff by itself.
That doesn't lead to anything. I kept waiting for that to come back. And then I'm guessing the ghost of Quint walking into Finn Wolfhard's room.
Yeah, but then like I feel like there's enough other stuff where you can be like, is she imagining, or is this a character, either the nanny or Finn Wolfhard, doing things to her? I feel like it doesn't commit, and I wonder if it's unfair for me to be mad at it about that.
No, it isn't, because the twisty ending is everything to be mad at about.
Yeah, no, but this is even before the twisty ending.
Oh, okay.
This is before like even most of the scares start. I just feel like it is very confused, I feel like it goes back and forth on the information it wants the audience
like you
to
said,
have.
they 30 minutes in, they throw a random jump scare in there just to remind you this is supposed to be a horror movie.
Yeah, do you think it's a movie that's held back by its horror conventions?
Yeah, I think so. I think if they hadn't, even the marketing, we saw this trailer gajillion times, and there's nothing in the trailer where you can't figure out what the scariest thing is. Some trailers is very clear. The nun, there's a scary nun. This I couldn't picture what the scares were in any of the marketing, and I don't think the movie, because there isn't a prime scare thing, because I think it is more supposed to be in your head, but
then it kind of goes back on that by needing to scare you.
Yeah.
I think the mannequin head turn is a good example of that, because like I would have honestly been more creeped out if they had just held on the mannequin head.
I know. I thought they were going to for a second. It held it for a second. I was like, oh, they're actually it's not going to turn. And then it did turn.
I will say it does use some of the horror elements really well, kind of the standard ones, some shot types. Like when she's in the room with all the mannequins, putting the camera over the shoulder of one to create like a voyeuristic feel, like the scene in the bathtub, which I feel like is in every single horror movie. Like I feel like it uses some of these elements
very tropey.
Well. What do you think of the cast in this?
I think of the 5 people we have, I'm not going to count the ghosts because I don't think they have anything to do, because there's her friend.
Yeah. Rose. Why do I remember the most random characters' names? I don't remember Mackenzie Davis's name, but I remember Rose.
Mackenzie Davis's name. She's good. Finn Wolfhard is doing something. I think he's doing exactly what he was directed to do. I don't think it's working.
That's a good way of putting it.
I like Flora.
Yeah.
Housekeeper lady is substantially creepy. Job well done.
Barbara Martin is the housekeeper lady. I feel like I had seen her in something. I hadn't, but she's good. Feels like she knows exactly what kind of movie this needs to be.
Oh, yeah.
Not that the other actors don't. I just feel like she fits into the
I think
world
everybody's being directed well enough. Just some aspects aren't really working.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Brooklyn Prince, who played Flora. She was in what I consider one of the best movies of the last decade, The Florida Project, where she plays this kid growing up in a motel in Orlando, and she runs around and gets in trouble and does kid things. It's a movie that tries to be as realistic as possible. She is very convincing in it. I completely buy that she's this character. Mooney is the name of the character. In this, I feel it took some adjusting, because it's clear from like the dialogue she has and some of the stuff she has to do. It's like, okay, this is not a real kid.
Yeah.
but I feel like she has that same natural talent that she had in Florida Project. It's just not as well utilized.
She has that kind of fun-loving atmosphere where I buy it, and she's a happy enough looking kid to where it feels very natural when she's just being a fun kid.
Yeah, and she has some really fun moments.
Yeah. But then there's parts where Finn Wolfhard's character had put just a bunch of needles in them on mannequin boobs. And she goes, that's tacky. Kid wouldn't say that or something.
But what about kid in the 90s? This kid's older than us, Joe.
I think she was the standout for me.
Yeah, I would put either her or... Honestly, I think Mackenzie Davis is doing a good job here. She's very expressive.
Yeah.
The problem is that she's wearing this wig that's not very convincing.
It's those bangs, man. It's the unconvincing bangs that do it every time.
It feels like Nicole Kidman's wig in Bombshell.
Oh, don't remind me.
Yeah, I do think there are some moments where Mackenzie Davis kind of saves some unnecessary reaction shots with her expressions.
Mm-hmm.
So as the movie goes on, it's revealed that it's haunted by two ghosts. There's the ghost of the governess
Ginny.
before then, something like that. I think it was Ginny, but with something that made it different.
Yeah.
Let me look. I have the cast list up. Jessel. That was it. Jessel. And Quint, who was the caretaker or horse.
He was the stable or the quartermaster, I thought was what they said.
Yeah. And then as the movie goes on, it's kind of a mystery of, what happened to Jessel? And it turns out that
Jessel's
Quint,
in the beginning of the movie. She's in the cold open. She's trying to escape.
and at least we think, according to the first ending, which we are taking as gospel for now until we open that Pandora's jar, we think that Jessel has been killed by Quint, and that her ghost is like trying to get Mackenzie Davis to discover this, and Quint's trying to stop
ghost keeps
it.
showing up and he's like, help me or something.
Yeah.
Leading her to certain clues of the mystery.
Which I like. I like the idea. I like non-threatening ghosts and things, especially gothic horror. Although this also has a ghostly horror because the ghost of Quentin is in this. But I like when ghosts are just adjacent to the actual problems of the characters.
Although she is trying to be a helpful ghost, she does have the haunted mansion effect, as I like to call it, or the Boo from Mario effect, where you look down from the mirror and she appears, then you look back up and she's gone.
Oh no.
And it keeps happening.
The Mario 64, I forget which level it is, but it's the one with all the boos. That creeped me out as a kid.
The haunted mansion level.
Yeah, that was scary. But were the effects in this scary? Seamless transition.
There were effects in this movie?
This movie really, like a lot of horror movies of this like tier, I feel like it succeeds a lot when it's not trying to be directly scary.
Yeah, it is. It's when it's the most painfully boring scares where it's just swells and a lot of reverb. Nice hall verb.
Were there any moments of, because I think there are two types of scares, right? There's ghostly scares and there's Finn Wolfhard being an edgy teen.
Extremely edgy.
He gets expelled from boarding school at the beginning of this, and they say it's because he attacked a student. I think it's because he convinced Kurt Cobain to commit suicide. Is that too soon?
No.
Kurt Cobain died 2 years before I was born, so like his death means nothing to me.
No, nothing supremely scary.
I like the hands.
I guess they're kind of out of nowhere.
Is it because she sees the hand on the chain? The mannequin hand on the chain?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you. There's kind of a creepy part where Finn Wolfhard's feeding a spider to his pet tarantula. I wasn't expecting a tarantula to pop out of there. So.
Yeah. Well, you expect there to be a spider, and then there's bigger spider.
Then there's a bigger spider. It didn't exactly scare me, but it wasn't expected.
Yeah, no, they have a total of 3 spiders. That's a big spider budget for a movie that's not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's bigger than most Spider-Man budgets. Spiders don't play a big part in it, believe it or not. They're kind of only in the first movies. Has there been a spider in any of the Tom Holland? Sorry, I have to bring Tom Holland into every one of these.
No, there has not been a spider, to my knowledge.
Can we have a dutiful listener go back and rewatch the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies? Because
Lord
we're
knows
sure
I'm
not.
going
Yeah,
to.
yeah. None of the Finn Wolfhard scares are scary.
He starts off as this kind of, he's nice enough, and then he just gets angstier and angstier throughout the movie. Where he just has a dead stare and his lip hangs open.
He's playing the drums. It's a great scene.
He smashes a koi.
He's trying to exorcise Mackenzie Davis from his room.
Nothing should have to suffer.
Nothing should have to suffer.
With these trailers that we see over and over again, Because just for full context, I'll walk out on the trailers for movies I want to see.
Yes.
So like New Mutants, Quiet Place 2, I walked out on, right? This one I did not care about. So like we've seen this over and over again. And so there's just like, for Joe, it's the suffer line. For me, it's him drumming.
Can you please stop?
We have moments from the trailers we look very much forward to in some movies, and then they don't happen sometimes, and it's extremely disappointing.
Yeah, like no one told me there was going to be a dragon.
Hello, Barry. Hello, lunch.
So for the majority of the movie, I would actually say it's an okay horror movie. It plays its gothic beats like very well. It never does anything to really elevate it. And it's kind of in this awkward space between, do you want this to be psychological? Do you want this to be supernatural? Mm-hmm. But then we open up our pack of Twizzlers twists.
So, Mackenzie Davis finds the body of Jessel, starts freaking out.
Well, first she gets some paintings from her mom, who is crazy.
Who has appeared in one scene of this movie prior.
We know she's crazy because she sits in a swimming pool and doesn't wear makeup.
And paints. She gets some charcoal paintings from her mom that her mom was making at the beginning of the movie. And they're just black with some holes in them. And then the housekeeper had opened up her mail. She's like, I hope her madness isn't genetic. Because clearly from the charcoal paintings, you can tell the woman who made these is insane. Mackenzie Davis finds the body of Jessel in the pond, runs back in, and it's like, it was Quint who did it.
Yeah,
I knew it all along.
We get some ghostly apparitions.
That happens. And then the housekeeper is like, no, I made sure Quint could never do it again. I took care of him myself. And then the ghost Quint pushes her over the railing. The housekeeper, that is, not Mackenzie Davis. And then they get in the car and they leave.
Well executed segment all around. When they were driving out, I'm like, okay, there has to be something here because this is anticlimactic. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, can it just be anticlimactic? Can we just end it here?
Nope. It zooms out of the darkness into the charcoal painting, and she's back where she opened up the painting.
We respawned, y'all. We have to restart the level again. Got the wrong ending.
The Stanley's Parable effect.
Do you think that the director got this script, but they accidentally printed off the wrong version of the script? They had the old ending, and it was stapled in. And then they had the new ending stapled on. But then she's like, oh, wait, there's two endings. Gotta make sense of this.
Finn Wolfhard's creepy again. Mackenzie Davis accidentally breaks one of Flora's dolls. Flora's not too happy about it. And then she overhears him saying, why is she crazy? And then all of a sudden she's in the swimming pool with her mom, and her mom turns around, and we don't see what's on her mom's face, but Mackenzie Davis screams, and the movie ends.
It ends with Mackenzie Davis. I guess it's Mackenzie Davis. It's probably a hand double they had. But this hand just caressing the walls as the credits scroll. Joe, you and me had polar opposite reactions when the zoom out happened. Explain your end of things.
The zoom out into the charcoal painting?
Charcoal painting, yeah.
I was
the respawn, sorry.
The respawn, yeah. I was under the impression of, it's going to be anticlimactic. What? I mean, kind of fits the movie. The movie itself is anticlimactic. And it has to have a twist. Has to be so twisty. The ghosts weren't real. Or were they? Or is she insane? Or is it both?
Is it a premonition? Is it something else?
She ends up just being in the pool, and her mom may not have a face. Or it's a spooky face. Or her mom was Flora the entire time. I don't know. The movie doesn't.
It's so bizarre. Yet, I want it to commit so hard. This ending confuses me.
Yeah. Why is it called The Turning?
Because...
What turned?
Well, the book is called... It's based on a book called The Turning of the Screw.
The Turn of the Screw.
The Turn of the Screw. So I guess it's just they didn't want to take the name from the book. But it's like, it's like there are constantly things that are just slightly turning, making her crazier. I think what gets me is that this movie commits so hard to just such a goofy twist. And then it almost immediately yeets itself out of there. Because like 3 minutes after the twist, it just smash cuts to caressing the wall.
Yeah.
And we're done. And like it cuts to caressing the wall. And I'm like, oh God, are there going to be credits? Are they doing this? Are they committing to just abandoning us? And they did. We have been abandoned.
Yeah.
In a movie that I'm like, okay, it is following all the tropes of a horror movie. It's shot like a horror movie. Then they did something where I'm like, well, it's technically not out of character for a horror movie, but it's just I would not have guessed that they would have actually done this.
No.
So is the movie tricking me? Because I kind of think it's great. Like, it's obviously not.
No.
But I'm kind of digging it. Is the movie tricking me, Joe?
No, rating now. Bad. Stop it. Stop Dr. Sleeping this.
No. Okay, it's not great. And if it just
boring. It's boring and bad.
If it just ended at the beginning, I would say it's okay. But I don't know. This honestly, is this good? I want to sit through the whole credits because I wanted more information. I feel like I don't know, Joe. I'm gonna say
I do. It's bad.
I'm gonna say it's hot trash.
Oh no.
But only because of those last 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, those last 10 minutes for me take it from boring to bad. And it just went in the opposite way from you. Who makes these movies gets through these cuts? Is like, yes, this is sufficiently scary. Or do you think they admit defeat at a certain point?
It's weird, right? Because I would say I've sat through a lot of screenwriting classes where people's goal has been to write a formulaic horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because horror is so experience-based for some people. Not necessarily. I don't get scared in horror movies, so for me, it is more about the themes and stuff. But for some people, they just want to be scared, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sit down, write a formulaic slasher movie, right? You can do stuff with that. You can still be creative and people will still like it. So I think it would make sense if they were like, okay, just write a formulaic haunted house movie. Put in some recognizable stars. Do it on a cheap enough budget that we make bank. But then do they look at it and be like, okay, it's formulaic enough that you can get away with that ending? That's more my question.
It's not.
For you, it doesn't work. For me, it works kind of, I guess. I honestly think the movie would be better without it, but I think I enjoyed it a lot more because of it. I am curious in your thesis, what does the producer say when he's looking at this?
I don't know. I'm sure there's certain things that are like, wow, this really worked well. Then everything horror related just doesn't jive with me. Have it be Finn Wolfhard just terrorizing her.
Or the ghosts.
Ghosts. Yeah, the ghosts just kind of
but then
don't come into play.
Yeah, but then wouldn't it just be like every other horror movie? Is this one of those examples?
That's fine.
Is this one of those examples where the argument that things should be original is kind of dumb because original doesn't mean good?
Yeah.
Not that this is original.
It's not.
This is a very tropey twist, but it's different. I'll give it that.
That's for sure.
I don't know, man. Thumbs up to the cinematographer. I would see the next thing the director does if it didn't look actively bad. I'm just confused, Joe. I guess we all have ghosts.